Hello, welcome back to 1874. I am Dan Bardell, just back from Villa Park. Villa have been humbled by Chelsea 4-1 in what was an absolutely critical game in Villa's battle to qualify for the Champions League. And let's face it, it has not gone well. The show is sponsored by NordVPN. Head to nordvpn.com/1874, where you will get a huge discount, 4 months for free, and you'll also get a 30-day money-back guarantee. So if you missed the Villa game tonight because you didn't have a way of watching it, NordVPN may have been a way of helping you get to see the game, although we all know now that in some ways I wish I hadn't seen the game. As I say, I just got back 10 past 11. There will be a more nuanced take on the show tomorrow, so I'll obviously come on and do a proper show with someone else. Tom Colomose from the Daily Mail, I keep saying his name wrong, he's joining me, and we're going to record a deeper dive into this 4-1 defeat. But you know, I log on when we win every time, so I'm not going to not do it when we lose. And look, it's miserable. It's a difficult night for Villa. It's difficult to talk about when you just get home. I haven't really had time to collect my thoughts. I haven't seen anything back other than a few images of VAR. And look, the start of the night, I looked at the team and thought, oh God, Una, what have you done here? And after 90 seconds, I thought, oh, actually, Unai knows best, doesn't he? Look, some of those players that I was questioning why they've been picked, they were involved in that first goal, and things looked good. I thought first half, in all honesty, I thought it was pretty even. I thought it was a kind of good battle out there. Two good teams. I thought Villa transitioned really, really well because they're playing against a team that isn't sitting back, isn't playing deep. It suited us a little bit more. I felt that we looked dangerous, of course. They looked dangerous as well. Martinez had to make a couple of smart saves. The goal, I mean, I'm, like I said, I'm going to do a show tomorrow, so I'm not going to go into massive detail right now. But the killer moment is us going 2-1 ahead and the goal getting disallowed, and then a tight one for them that leads to them going 2-1 up, and they go in half time ahead. And the sign of a team that's struggling is when you let in a goal in stoppage time in the first half and then come out in the second half and let one in early in the second half. Those things completely change games. And to be honest, from the moment it went, maybe even at 2-1, it felt like it was going to be a battle for us to get anything from the game. But certainly when it went to 3, heads dropped, our race looked run, and the players just never looked like they were going to be able to show enough courage and character to get back in the game. On the plus, is there any pluses? But Manchester United lost. We're still on the same points as them, but I can't just keep coming on podcast and saying, well, we're still this, we're still that, we're still in the top 4, we're still in the Champions League places, because the way things are going right now, we're falling away. We have fell off a cliff. 2026 has been pretty grim for Villa so far. 2025 was a good year for Villa, where they won a lot of football matches. 2026, we've not been winning games. We've not been looking dangerous. And, that big occasion tonight was huge. And you do wonder how damaging that game's gonna be for us long term, because it's the kind of result and that completely zaps confidence. Chelsea, by the end of the game, look streets ahead of us, levels above us. So they should be. They're a £1 billion team. They can afford to buy players and then just not use them and sell them the next summer. We have to watch every penny, and look, we've wasted money. Of course we have, but there's a big difference in terms of those two squads out there tonight. I'll go back to the start. The starting 11, I was surprised. I felt Tammy needed to start. I felt Leon Bailey and Emi Buendia did not need to start, but credit to Bailey, he started the game really, really well and got an assist for that first goal. Watkins was involved in that first goal as well, stepping over the ball, and it's a smart finish from Douglas Luiz. And you kind of think, right, we're at Villa Park, it's a night game. We've got this going here. We're going to be in the ascendant here. Like I said, I thought we played quite well in the first half, but unfortunately, so did Chelsea. In the second half, you're playing against a poor goalkeeper. He's not even their first choice. He's a poor goalkeeper, and we haven't tested him once. And look, Emi Martinez is the busier of the two goalkeepers this evening. He's made 3 or 4 really good saves. It could have been more. If Garnacho had a brain, it could have been more as well tonight for Chelsea. But by the end of it, but in the first half, I did feel we had moments where we looked a good side. We played really, really well in transition. Unfortunately, we couldn't hold on to that lead. We couldn't build on that lead, and João Pedro caused us all sorts of problems with his clever movement in that first half. And in fact, the Chelsea kind of front, in fact, Chelsea all over the pitch were very, very fluid. I thought they were set up really, really well. I said in the preview that Rosigney has impressed me with the way that he's got Chelsea playing. I think they're very, very smart tactically. The way they were building up with like Gusto just holding the absolute width down the right hand side. Reece James would then drop in and almost play a quarterback role. They pressed us at the right times. They kept it compact when they needed to as well. They did give us, leeway in transition back to themselves. And I thought we caused them problems with a few balls over the top. Obviously, Watkins has got him behind at one point, whether it was a foul or not, I don't know, and put it straight at the goalkeeper. But, overall, I got to say Chelsea were full value. They're a better team than us on tonight's evidence. It was Chelsea at full tilt really, and Villa not at full tilt, and we've been absolutely humbled and smacked 4-1. But like I say, the game hinged on the offsides. Look, by the letter of the law, by the way they do the offsides now, it is offside. But it's like it's half a kneecap. Like, is this really what football is? There's just so many woes now being a Villa fan because you're dealing with financial restrictions where you're just not allowed to compete. You're playing against a team that spent billions of pounds and VAR are ruling out a goal for that. I will say he doesn't need to be offside. It's probably not great from him that he is offside. He probably didn't need to do that because he had space and he had time, and it's great work from Rodgers to drive forward and put him through. But it's the first time he's finished anything in weeks, and he's like so close to being onside, and it's ended up not counting. And then the second goal really, really disappointed me for Chelsea. I don't want to keep picking on Bardell, and I keep saying this and inevitably picking on him after I've said I don't want to pick on him. Just didn't put himself about in a tackle, kind of winced out of it, and the balls ended up going through to João Pedro. And it's a smart finish from the guy. It's a great finish, and he gets his second goal. But the game's hinged on those two VAR offside decisions, hasn't it? They're the bits that change. If we go 2-1 up, I think it's probably a different game in that second half. But in the end, we've ended up going 2-1 down and going into half time behind. And I think we almost were down and out at that moment, weren't we? Because when we were 1-0 up, we looked a good team. But recently, when games have been level and and we've been behind, we haven't looked a good side. And that was apparent again this evening. Villa trying to come from behind. Earlier on in the season, we were making a name for ourselves from coming from behind and getting back into games and taking 3 points. When we go behind now, it doesn't look like we're going to get anything out of games. People actually criticising Watkins in the comments, and look, I know I've defended him for years, and recently I have called that he shouldn't be in the team. I actually thought he did play quite well tonight. Probably one of the few that I would call out as having a good game, and unfortunate not to come away with a goal. Was involved in that first goal. Good hold at play, I thought at times as well. But there's too many that feel off it right now. The midfield, I know Luiz scored, but that midfield just got bypassed so easily, and they're not asserting themselves on games at all. Anana in the second half is hiding in plain sight, just taking up safe positions where you're not going to get pressed, where you're almost in line with your centre-backs. And I think it was the fourth goal. It's come because Conte's come and had to press where Anana should be pressing. He's just too safe. Safety first from him, not putting yourself in the firing line, not putting your foot in. You're 6'5". You're supposed to be a defensive midfielder with a bit of grit about you. Do more. I just thought he was hiding, particularly in the second half. Luiz's races run almost after 45 minutes nowadays. The guy can't get around the pitch for more than an hour. He gets taken off again. And I mean, the less said about Buendia at the moment, the better, I think. I liked that he was moved centrally and Rodgers was playing from the left. And I thought Rodgers was far more involved in the game, playing from the left tonight. But I forgot Buendia was playing at times in the first half. I really did, and everything's compounded by cash going off you. You're a team that's aspiring to be in the Champions League again, and you're a top level team because you're in the top 4, top 5 of the best league in the world, and you don't have another right back to bring on when your right back goes off injured. It's just a sorry state of affairs, isn't it? It was only a minimal fee for Garcia, but we still spent money on him to come in and be the backup right back. he's nowhere to be seen. You're bringing on a midfield player to play at right back. If you combine Nedeljkovic and Garcia, the money that we spent, you could have probably got a right back that's ready and ready to compete with Matty Cash for a place in the first team. So at least when your right back does go off, you don't have to completely change what you're doing. Bogard works hard, tries hard, did nothing wrong, but he isn't a right back. So Cash has been one of Villa's best players this season. So when he goes off as well, that's massive to add to the players that already aren't there. As I say, it just feels like a sorry state of affairs that a Premier League club only has one proper right back, or at least one right back that is fancied. And Chelsea, like I say, are £1 billion and they're bringing on players who they've spent an absolute fortune on, and they can afford to do that. The churn of players there's a joke, and the regulations almost don't matter to them. They're irrelevant. But start of the day, we're ahead of them in the league for a reason, but they just looked streets ahead of us. But by the end of the game, and we've tried to. No. In fact, in the second half, I don't think we really did try. I felt like we gave up in the second half. The fans have mainly gone as well. There wasn't many people left in the ground. But by the end of the game, apologies, this is an absolute ramble, by the way. But these shows, when I just get back from Villa Park and come straight on and do a show, that they always are. We just feel defeated and depleted right now. And I was looking at, do you remember a couple of seasons ago? I don't know why I'm asking a question, a lot of people are going to answer me, but do you remember a couple of seasons ago when we got battered by Tottenham at Villa Park in the year we did get top four? And at that point, it felt like, we're falling away here. Our race is run. The only positive I can come up with is that we still managed to get top four off the back of that, and Tottenham didn't get it. So if Chelsea have battered us tonight, it's not even a positive. It's more of a hopeful comment than anything. But that tonight felt a bit like that day. I feel like I did that day coming out of Villa Park, like our race is run, and it's just so disappointing because we put ourselves in such a good position this season, and we're just coming up short now. As I said, 2026, barely anything's gone well for us. We've lost key players. We've lost key games. It feels a long time ago now already since Villa Park was a fortress. Like, just what's happened to us at Villa Park? Even with injuries previously, we'd still pick up draws and stuff when we've had bad injuries in seasons gone by. Like right now, we just look devoid of any confidence, and the players are visibly struggling. I don't know. People all look at Emery and obviously look. I think the team selection will probably be one of the main talking points that comes out of the game. In the kind of first 10, 15 minutes, you look at it and think, oh, maybe he got it right. But as the game goes on, we've ended up getting battered. So you will look at it and say, obviously, he got it wrong. But really, we're bringing on. This is the thing that summed it up for me. We're bringing on Jadon Sancho, right? Nothing against Sancho. I think he's been okay this season. I'd like to see a little bit more for £180,000 a week, but it is what it is. We're like loaning him on the last day of August. Chelsea paid £5 million to not have him, and they can just afford to do that. We couldn't afford to just write off £5 million. But that's the reality of where we're at, and there may be a false narrative, and we were in a false position maybe. And look, Emery's worked complete miracles with this team, but it does feel like the wheels have come off at this point. They can quite easily be put back on, and I would never bet against us going on a run. But that one tonight felt like a confidence and an energy zapper. It really, really did. I just don't know where we go now. The next game, Manchester United away, it's like Wolves away. Just forget about it. We never do anything there. West Ham afterwards, suddenly showing signs of life, and a team that looked like they might stay up. It's suddenly looking like, to keep our grip on the top five. It's going to take a lot, and it's going to take a huge turnaround. It's going to take a couple of big players coming back for us. It really is. But Chelsea were just so much better than us. Like the way they came forward in that second half, they just picked us apart at ease. And we're picking teams where I think we're trying to be a little bit robust. Mings is my favourite player in this Villa squad. He's coming in and playing. He's picking the reliability. Almost, it feels like the players that he knows, the players that have played the most games for Villa, the players that have been there the longest, and we're just still getting played through far too easily. Talk about us in transition in the first half. Chelsea's transition, we were just so open. We really, really were. Like I say, if Garnacho had a brain, I honestly think they'd have scored 6 or 7 tonight and completely ripped us to shreds. I mean, as it happens, they've completely taken us apart anyway. the Europa League is the fallback. It's still a valid route into the Champions League, but right now I don't see it. I've got to be honest. I don't see us being capable of winning that trophy right now. I think the route that we've got, should we progress, is pretty difficult. I think we've been sussed out right now. We're looking like a team that's lacking ideas, lacking confidence, and we need to change something. And we did, to in his defence, change a few things tonight. Like I didn't think our setup was bad this evening. I actually felt energised when the game started, because there was a couple of like little tweaks and a couple of different things. For example, Rogers going out on the left, we went a bit more direct at times, and Watkins did cause them trouble in behind. But just generally, we just look pretty far away from what we were and what we've been when we've been really, really effective and really good under Unai Emery. I just didn't recognise the team and the stadium by the end of the game. For it to be emptied out in such a huge game. I spoke about this game being a cup final, and if it was a cup final, we've been absolutely humbled. And I thought we were kind of done with the days of it feeling abject. And I just worry I'm worried about the long term future right now. Champions League, it feels like Champions League or bust for this team and Emery's Villa. I've got to be honest. In general, if we don't do this, I really think there could be an implosion at Villa Park. I don't want to keep saying it, but I don't think it would take much for us to go back to what we were before Emery came in. And if he decides enough's enough in the summer, if we don't get Champions League again, and he can go somewhere where he can spend money and be in the elite competition, I think we go back to being what we were previously under him. And before, when we were just an average, middling Premier League team, everyone was paying like my season ticket was £500. People ain't going to be happy at paying £1,000 to be a bang average Premier League team. And I'm frightened that that's what we will be without Unai Emery if he does depart. This team, this club needs Champions League football. If it doesn't get it, I dread to think what will happen. And you know, look at what we're up against tonight. Like, Chelsea are a global team, and they're behind us in the league somehow. But the money they've spent and the players they've got, it is worlds apart watching them and watching us tonight. I don't know. I am rambling like I'm tired. I've had no sleep for 6 weeks. I am desperately rambling away here, like trying to make sense of things, trying to come out with a show, and I just don't think I'm doing it, to be honest. So I think I'll probably log off. Obviously, I'm disappointed. I'm presuming everyone else is. Well, no, I know everyone else is as well. I would have turned around and asked some people at the end of the game, but there was no one else left around me except for me and my dad. I did record stuff with my dad this evening. I'm not sure anyone will be asked to watch it, but I will put it out tomorrow, and there'll be a show with Tom Colomos as well tomorrow, looking back at the game. He was in the press box watching Villa as well, and oh my god, I just didn't expect that tonight. I had a feeling, I really had a feeling that we would win and do this night in the big game, that we'd that we'd turn up and get something done, and I particularly felt that 90 seconds in. But what I didn't see coming in 2026 was this really, really poor home run. I didn't see us like getting taken apart by teams. That just isn't something that's been Emery's Villa at all. So that's really, really worrying. And the landscape feels pretty grim and pretty worrying right now as a Villa fan. I look at the league table and we're fourth, same points as Manchester United in third, and we should all be happy. But I can't just keep coming onto podcasts and saying that, because there's stuff that's fundamentally wrong at the moment, and there's things that need to change, and I'm just not sure that we've got it in our locker right now. I hope to God I'm wrong, and this team's done so much and this manager's done so much, and I hope they can turn it round. But we're in a bad moment, as Unai Emery said after the game right now. So that's my kind of individual debrief. Not sure I've summed anything up. Not sure I've made anyone feel better. Certainly haven't made myself feel better. But I've been rambling on for 20 minutes. Probably everyone's zoned out and switched off. So thank you very much to those of you that have joined me live. Apologies, I haven't really got you involved. I've got to be honest, the console has changed on the software that I use, and I don't get what's happening. It's all changed, which wasn't what I needed this evening. But yeah, there'll be more content coming up in the next 24 to 48 hours. So do watch out for it if you can bring yourself to watch any Villa content or listen to any Villa content in the coming days. Subscribe. Oh, you know what? I can't even be asked. Everyone knows what I want you to do. I say it at the end of every single show. So So please do all those things that I go on about every single week. And yeah, I imagine even though I'm knackered, I'm going to lie awake thinking about Aston Villa all evening. So you'll probably all do the same. You could listen to this podcast again and send yourself to sleep. So right, gonna go up the Villa. Take care of yourselves, and yeah, I'll be back tomorrow for a much more nuanced take on everything that's going on